Video games. You know 'em. And if you're under the age of 35, you probably love 'em. Join us as in the next 10 minutes, we take you through the evolution of video game technology and demonstrate how modern peripherals have increased player immersion. Early video game controllers involved four-directional movement in a 2D environment. Notice how these pads only offer four-directional movement. This allowed players to control an avatar strictly in the back and forth and up and down sense, which, while fun, was not very immersive, as can be demonstrated in this clip of the classic Super Mario Bros. With the introduction of the Sega Genesis, the world's first 16-bit system, graphics improved drastically. However, player control over the in-game avatar was still limited to the four-directional pad.
Born out of a thought where the spider makes her bed out of the carcasses she caught. Hey, yo, she's got that good hair. Me, I got dandruff. She wears a smile and me, I wear handcuffs. Yo, wait a minute, savior. How about a little truth?
This trend continued for decades, until the introduction of the Nintendo 64. The Nintendo 64 was the first system to couple a joystick controller with 3D mapping. The combination of these capabilities offered for greater player agency. That is, fewer restrictions on the player in the game world, and a greater sense of player immersion. Notice how the player-controlled avatar in this unspecified Nintendo game moves freely through the in-game world. This capability gives players the option to tackle situations from different angles, quite literally. The introduction of the PlayStation 2 and the Microsoft Xbox offered gamers dual joystick technology. This gave the ability to separately and simultaneously control both perspective and movement within the 3D environment. Enter move technology. This is when things start to get real. The Nintendo Wii utilizes an accelerometer and an infrared sensor to, in essence, directly translate player movement into the game world. The PlayStation Move expanded on this technology, resulting in greater controller sensitivity. The Move utilizes both a camera and a controller containing an accelerometer, a gyroscope, and a magnet to determine player orientation. Essentially, all this technical mumbo-jumbo results in greater mapping of player movements within the game world. Notice how accurately the player movement is depicted on screen. Which brings us to the Xbox Kinect, the ultimate in player immersion. You are the controller.
I don't need you. Tell me what to do. Tell me what to say. Don't you wanna help me?
Using a sophisticated system of 3 depth-sensing cameras, the Kinect can track player movement without a controller.
I would hate me too, just like you do. I don't need you. Tell me
Any movement performed by a player is captured and transferred within the game world. This increases player immersion by alleviating controller parameters and emphasizing player agency.
can't decide sometimes if it's worth the point.
Johann Huizinga's Magic Circle is the idea of a dividing line between game space and the real world. With these more immersive technologies, the magic circle, in effect, grows. But sometimes this boundary is crossed. As we can see, sometimes this greater sense of immersion can lead to broken television sets. Injured house pets. Broken bones. And even broken homes. And on a note much lighter than child abuse, sometimes this sense of immersion just plain makes you look silly.
I'm a driver, I'm a winner.
This leads us to speculation on the future of gaming. Who knows what time may bring? Could it be a holodeck? We're all familiar with the concept of a holodeck. Ask and you shall receive. The computer can make a realistic world for which you to interact with. The idea of a fully interactive 3D environment generated by a computer has long since been a staple of science fiction. It probably won't be a holodeck. However, this idea may be more real than you think. In the future, we may see video games in which players no longer control avatars within a game world, but become the avatars within the game world. In the end, no one can say for certain what the future will bring. Trends indicate that immersion in video games will only grow. And assuming that the world doesn't end in 2012, maybe we will have holodecks one day. So video games are pretty neat. Blah, blah, blah.
Chad, that's not even the script at all. Are you kidding me?
Don't patronize me.
I'm sick of this.
More beer.